Hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. So excited you're here because today we're doing a book tag. This is the Cozy Coffee Mug book tag created by Literary123, and she actually tagged me in this one. I will link her channel down below. Be sure to check it out. And actually be sure to check out her video for this one. She actually created the prompts based on coffee mugs. And she actually showed the mugs and they're really cute. So yeah, be sure to check out her video. And her channel is actually really cool. I really love her take on books and her reviews because she always gives me a unique perspective on things that, you know, I wouldn't have thought of. So be sure to check out her channel if you haven't already. Here we go. First prompt is Hex the Patriarchy. Share your favorite women authors. I have several favorites. One of them is Rachel Harrison. Rachel Harrison, I have loved every book that I've read of hers. She actually has a new one coming out, which is So Thirsty, coming out in September. Mentioned that one on a couple videos back. But yeah, I've loved every book that she's written so far. Another one is Sharon Verts. She writes historical fiction, which I know is not my typical genre. Actually had an opportunity to meet her a while back at one of her book signings. She has sent me a couple of her books, a couple of arcs. I actually have one that is called Grays of Truth that is coming out in October that I'm supposed to be reading soon. Yeah, loved her stuff, and I got to meet her and talk about how she comes up with her books. Funny that she lives in like this Victorian mansion or whatever that she renovated, and turns out it was like somebody used to live in that was like part of one of the books that she wrote. It was like a whole story. Anyways, you'd have to read the book to understand what I'm talking about, but anyway, it was really fascinating to hear how she comes up with her ideas and how she comes up with her stories. Like, she'll actually, if it's like a courtroom drama, she'll actually go and sit in a courtroom and see how it all works, and it was really interesting. I got a lot of insight from her. Another one is CJ Lead. She wrote Made Fly, loved that book. And Laurel Hightower is another one. I've loved anything I've read by her as well. Next prompt is never underestimate a woman who reads Stephen King books. Share your favorite fictional women characters. I have a bunch. I'm only going to share a couple, because I have a video coming out where I'm going to share a couple of the other a couple of the other books that have other female characters. So, yeah. I don't want to like talk about those books today and then like talk about them in that video and be like, didn't you just talk about those? So I'm going to mention other characters today. One of them is Carrie White from Carrie by Stephen King. Love her. Love this book. Yeah. Probably already know the story, so I won't get too far into that one. But yeah, love Carrie White so much. Also, I love this edition. And the other one is Ashley Cordova from Night Film. If you haven't read this one, Ashley has been found dead from a suicide, and her death is being investigated by Scott McGrath. And he suspects foul play. So, and he is like investigating Ashley's dad. Her dad is like a horror film director. He's not like the typical horror film director. I mean like the underground horror film, like really grim, really dark. And also there's a lot of like the occult and all that in this book. But anyways, the reason I like her is because she is like absolutely fascinating, mesmerizing, very mysterious. There's a lot of she's absolutely fascinating. And I can't really say a lot about this book because it's like there's just like a whole minefield of spoilers. If you look, like there's just, I like tabbed the crap out of this book. But Ashley is like a piano prodigy, but she's absolutely freaking fascinating. Everybody that she meets is just drawn to her. I can't explain it, but she's just magnetic and very, very fascinating. Like I said, I can't really say much about it, but I was absolutely pulled into this book. It was a slow read. It took me forever and a freaking day to read this because it is a slow read, and it's one of those that you I wanted to soak in every detail, because there are news articles, there are like web pages, and like, you know, there are web pages that it shows, and news articles and all this. It's like mixed media, but it's so very detailed and intricate and layered, so you're very much drawn into the mystery of it. But there's just so much to it. But her, even though you get just details, she's the focus because she's the one that's missing. But then most of it is like you're with Scott McGrath and him trying to investigate it, and like his shenanigans and all that. But I was so fascinated by her. She is so interesting. She and her dad both are very interesting, but I loved her and loved learning about her. I could not get enough of learning about her. So yeah, Ashley from Night Film. So those two. Like I said, I have other ones, but I'm not going to get into them because you will be seeing them in another video coming up. So those two. Next prompt. Edgar Allan Poe. Share your favorite Gothic book or story. Again, you're going to be seeing my favorite in an upcoming video. So I'm going to share another, and that is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is a Dracula retelling, and it is told in letter form from Constanta to Dracula. And this features a poly relationship. So it starts out between Constanta and Dracula, but they end up bringing a couple other people into the relationship. So it is male, female, and then it's female, female, and male, male. So multiple different facets of this relationship. It's very toxic. Dracula definitely controls this relationship. He's very controlling, manipulative, narcissistic. Yeah, but it's a very gothic story. Gorgeous. The writing style is exquisite. It very much draws you in. It's beautifully written and very, very quotable. Gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I couldn't get enough of it. It's one of those that it was easy 5 stars for me. And I mentioned this in a video back in February where I had a video featuring toxic relationships, because it is definitely toxic. But yeah, it's all about this toxic relationship. That's very much at the heart of this. And it says, with the lives of everyone she loves on the line, Constanta will have to choose between her own freedom and her love for her husband. But bonds forged by blood can be broken only by death. That's what it says at the end of this. But yeah, gorgeous. If you want a Gothic story, this is it. But like I said, it's also romance, and it's if you love that, but it's also it's very flowery too. Very beautifully written. But yeah, loved it. Number 4, Swiftea. Name your auto-buy authors. I have a few of these as well. I mentioned it's going to be Rachel Harrison, CJ Lead, Grady Hendrix, Christopher Triana, and Jeff Strand. Yeah, you know, Rachel Harrison, I mentioned I've loved everything. CJ Lead, so far, like Mayfly, that one was extreme horror, and she's got a new book coming out called American Rapture. I don't know if that one's going to be extreme horror as well. Grady Hendrix, everybody already knows about Grady Hendrix. I've loved everything I've read by him. Christopher Triana writes extreme horror. Jeff Strand, I've loved everything I've read by him as well. And so far everything I've read by him has been like more humor. Like he writes a lot of, I mean, it's horror and there's violence and gore too, but also he does really well with snark, like banter and snark, and I love all the snark and banter and like humor sprinkled throughout his books. But yeah, I've loved everything that he's written, especially my favorite has been Clowns vs. Spiders. Loved it. But yeah. Number 5, Camp Crystal Lake. Share a book that makes you feel nostalgic. So, like I said, you're going to see one there's another one I'm going to be mentioning in an upcoming video, but I'll share another one. And that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This one was filled with nostalgia. It is set in the 80s. And I know I mentioned this one in Old School April readathon because I've read this one now twice because I loved it so much. I mean, it looks like a VHS cover, so you automatically know it's nostalgic. But yeah, this one is centered around Abby and Gretchen's friendship. But you know that Gretchen ends up being possessed. I mean, you automatically know that because it's My Best Friend's Exorcism. But, you know, she starts acting really weird. Abby knows something is up. She tries to tell everybody something's up. Nobody believes her. And basically everybody else abandons Gretchen. But Abby's the one that sticks by her. And she's like, no, I'm telling you, this is not my friend. This is not her normal behavior. Something's wrong. And she's the one that sticks by her through everything. So it's about their friendship, really. And I mean, this even features an E.T. skating party. So I mean, how nostalgic is that? Definitely nostalgic. Love it so much. This is one I'll probably reread several times. By the end of it, I will wear this book out. I loved it. It's perfection. Next prompt is Happy Halloween. Share a holiday themed book that you recommend. It could be any holiday. I'm gonna go with Christmas on this one. Halloween is definitely my favorite of all of them, but actually the book that I would recommend the most as far as like holiday themed is gonna be a Christmas one, and it is Candy Cane Kills by Brian McCauley. And that one is a Christmas themed book. And let me tell you, I had the absolute best freaking time reading this last year. It's set, I have a paperback copy of this, but I had to purge some books. I'm only going to set them out around Christmas time because my shelves got overloaded and because I'm moving. And when I move, I'm going to have some more shelves. But yeah, this book, all of the kills, it's a slasher. It's a Christmas slasher. And y'all, it is so good. All of the kills are Christmas themed, okay? They are so original and so freaking good. And it's more than just a slasher, okay? It's like, there are complicated family dynamics. It's, you know, coming of age. There's queer rep. There's, you know, the characters are all really likable. Yeah, complicated family dynamics. It comes together in the absolute best way too. It's amazing. I loved it so much. All the kills are so good. They're Christmas themed. They're all really creative and very well executed. And there's even some humor thrown in, which, you know, I love. If you love slashers and you want a festive slasher this year, definitely read it. It's fast-paced, it's gory, and it will have you on the edge of your seat. It is so good. Number 7, this mug contains magic. Share a book you enjoy that is outside of your comfort zone or your typical genre. That one, okay, this one is, I never, ever, ever, hardly ever read sci-fi, and if I do, I usually don't like it. It's one of those genres that I have never been able to get into, except for this one. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I read this one a few years ago, and I loved it. It was and it's one of those that I put off reading. Like, I kept hearing about it. Everybody kept saying, you have to read it. It's hilarious. And I'm like, but it's sci-fi. But I finally said, look, I'll just read it because everybody keeps saying I have to. And I'm glad I did because it's so funny. But this girl, April, she's young, early 20s, is walking through the streets of New York, the middle of the night. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And she stumbles across this giant freaking statue that wasn't there before. And she and her best friend, Andy, make a video of it. And they're calling it Carl. Well, they make a video of it, put it online. And the next morning they wake up and the video has gone viral. And they find out that these statues have popped up all over the world, seemingly overnight. Other people are like, hey, there's this statue over here, you know, in our country, in our city or whatever. And everybody's kind of looking to April for answers. So April's trying to figure out, you know, where did these things come from? What do they want from us? What are they? Whatever. So it's a whole thing. There's a, you know, first of all, April is all of a sudden famous. All of a sudden, all these people know who April is, and they're looking to her for answers. She's, you know, she's going on talk shows, and she's, you know, she's famous overnight. This video is viral. Yeah. So she's dealing with fame, and she's dealing with figuring out who these Carls are and all this. Oh my God, this was laugh out loud funny, first of all, which I loved. It was mysterious. It was just, there was a lot to it. It was not just the sci-fi. There was sci-fi, obviously. It is a sci-fi book. But there was so much more to it than that. I loved it. There's a part 2. I didn't like part 2 as much. It definitely got more into the sci-fi thing. And it kind of lost me a little bit. I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't as this was a 5-star. I think I gave part 2 like a 4-star. Still enjoyed it, but not as much. But I loved this one. Really enjoyed it. Even though it was sci-fi, I still gave it a 5-star. It was good. But yeah, enjoyed it. It was a few years ago, so, but I still remember that much about it, and I still talk about it even today. The last one is tag some bookish friends, and I will tag some people down below. Try to find some that haven't already been tagged, because I know we share a lot of the same friends, so I will try to find some that haven't been tagged. But if you see this and haven't been tagged yet and want to join in, be sure to tag me in your video so I can see your responses. And also be sure to tag Literary Love 123 so that she can see your responses as well, since she's the creator of this tag. I will see you on Friday, next Friday. Bye for now.